Hello and welcome to Literacy Now, the show where you will learn how to find and access the best resources for a topic quickly. My name is Nancy Messina and I will be the host of this series. I'm a librarian on Lindenwood University's St. Charles campus, and through this series I hope you will learn about the different resources available to you, how to access them, and how to choose between one source and another. We will be bringing in guests to help highlight some of these resources and give you different perspectives on the topics that we will cover. Throughout this series, we will talk about a variety of topics that could be useful to you throughout your daily life. Today, we will be starting with information literacy and how you can use libraries to find and access quality resources. Now, you might have a particular view or idea of what libraries look like, what services they provide, and what you can do when you are there. Often this idea fits into the library's traditional role as places filled with books that you can check out and return later. You might think libraries are quiet places for researchers to go and do complicated research, or places where you can go for some quality time alone to maybe relax or work on a project. You also might think of the library as a building that contains these services. All of these things are true to some degree. People come to the library for books, quiet time, and research, and the building still stands for you to visit when you want. But libraries have changed a lot and are continuing to change as we look toward the future and how we can serve our constituents. On Lindenwood's campuses, we are looking to the future and want to provide the services and resources that our users need. We, like many libraries around the state and the country, are adapting our services and spaces to fit the needs of the users. Libraries are striving to become community centers, with rooms for groups to gather and collaborate and programs to help users develop new skills. The library still has spaces designed for quiet contemplation or research, but those spaces are no longer the central focus of the building. Libraries now have technology-enabled spaces with computers, digitization materials, recording areas, and much more. Resources are now no longer confined to just within the building. As a member of the library, you can access resources online throughout the library website, allowing you more convenience and not being limited to only the hours in which the library is open. Some examples include ebooks, audiobooks, and databases, with a variety of resources such as videos, online newspapers, and research articles. The libraries of today are also partnering with local businesses, governments, and groups in order to provide the information and resources users need. With all these services and resources available, the central mission of libraries to enhance learning and to ensure access to information has not changed. With that being said, we want to empower our users by teaching them the skills necessary to understand the information that is available, which brings us back to our topic for today, which is information literacy. Information literacy is a very popular topic right now in the library world, and is something that librarians are very concerned about. It may be a phrase that you have heard, or maybe you have no idea where that phrase came from and never thought to really question what it is. We asked some Lindenwood students what they thought information literacy was, and here are some of their responses.
I really don't know what information literacy is, but I can take a wild guess. Information literacy is someone who's very knowledgeable in a certain topic of literacy.
Information literacy is the ability to understand information. However, it is not just the ability to gather and intake the information, but to actually know how to intake it and the information critically, and how to read and analyze it as well.
I'm not sure what information literacy is, but my first thought was that it was a type of literature specific to expanding on a given topic or teaching you something.
So literacy means the ability to read and write. So according to me, information literacy should be something like reading and writing some information about anything.
As you can see, the students had a variety of responses about what they thought information literacy means, which is probably the case for most people. Many students responded by not knowing exactly what it meant, but thinking they could figure it out. As we saw from one of the students, they broke the unfamiliar phrase into the familiar individual words, which is a common thought for trying to find the meaning of something. Saying literacy is one thing, so if you add information to literacy, it must be this other thing. This is a pretty common strategy, but information literacy goes beyond that strategy. The American Library Association, which is the main librarian organization in the United States, defines information literacy as a set of abilities requiring individuals to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, and use effectively the needed information. Librarians strive to help with all of these different aspects, though usually people come to us for help locating and evaluating information. When we come back, I will be joined by a librarian from the St. Charles City County Library District to talk about what information resources are available at our different libraries and how you can become information literate.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Every journey has its beginning. The St. Louis Teen Telling Competition, April 8th at the fabulous Fox Theater. The first stop on the road to stardom.
Welcome back. I'm now joined by Trevor Rees from the St. Charles City County Library District. Hello, Trevor, and welcome to the show. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, sure, Nancy. It's a real pleasure to be here. Like I said, my name is Trevor Rees, and I'm the Information Resource Manager for Business Services and Public Management for the St. Charles City County Library District. Our library district is a 12-location library system located out here in St. Charles County. As part of our library system, we offer specialized services, business services and public management, local history and genealogy, nonprofit services, and local history and genealogy. My branch where I work, the Spencer Road Branch Library, offers business services and nonprofit services. And we're over in St. Peter's. Our branch is the Spencer Road Branch. So yeah, that's what I do, and that's where I provide my services.
Awesome. Okay, so we were going to talk a little bit about the differences between public libraries. So Trevor works at a public library, and I work at a university library. So we have a lot of similar resources and a lot of different resources. Some of the things that are similar, we both have web pages, we both have databases, but we also have different groups that we work with. So so tell me a little bit about the groups that you work with.
Yeah, Nancy, it's a great question. The groups that I work with are, and because it's business services, I work with people who want to start businesses, small businesses, people that have never done that before, sure. Small business owners who own businesses and they need information resources. I work with people that are doing career changes and want that type of information, and I also work with people that want to improve their knowledge of financial literacy. So those are the groups of folks that I work with, and as you know, in a public library, we work with everybody, but those are the people that tend to congregate towards my end of the building.
Okay, no, that makes sense. Well, on a university campus, we have, of course, a much smaller community. So we're working with the college campus community, so the students, the faculty, the staff who come in and need those different resources. So we have a little bit of a difference in our demographics, but we still open our services to those who come in and ask us for those things. So we're always trying to help the people. So it's interesting to see what groups are coming into you and seeing how that goes. So with that, with working in a university setting, we have a particular group that they come to us because we are their library. So we know a little bit more about the resources that they need because we are supporting the academics for this campus. So our faculty and staff, our students kind of tell us what kind of information resources they need. But also when it comes to teaching them about information literacy, the students come to us with questions, the faculty bring us into their courses. And so we have a set audience. So for information literacy, we're always trying to make sure that students know about what information literacy is, and we do a lot of that by teaching classes on this campus. So we have these students, they ask us questions about what kind of resources are available, and how they can gain access to these resources. So a lot of times we're talking about the databases that are available from our campus, but probably one of the questions that I get asked the most is, why can't I use the internet? My professor says, no, use the library resources. And I often state to the different students about how you can use internet resources. Google Scholar is a very acceptable way of finding information, but the evaluation process is so critical when you actually look at the resources that are available. And so you have to look at the different pieces. Do you know where the source is coming from? How do you evaluate the source? Is it biased? Is it an unbiased source? And looking at that sort of thing. So as a public librarian, do you choose the people that you teach, or are they kind of self-select, they come to you? Or how do you work with those groups, and what kind of resources and information literacy are you teaching?
Okay, Nancy, it's a great question. The type of when people find out about me, one, through our branch location. Somebody will walk in and say, I'm looking to start a business. Do you have resources that'll help me out? And they will refer them to me. They'll give them my business card and my contact information. And the people will then email me or call me up, and we'll have a conversation, and I'll find out what they're looking for, and then they'll come into the office and they will talk to me about it. And then I will introduce them to the resources that we have at our disposal. And as you know, in the library field, and I've been doing this since professionally since 1993. It's changed, where before the information used to be strictly, print, and then it changed over to microfilm and CD-ROM technology, and now it's digitized on the internet. So I explain to them, we are always open. I mean, the library, in a sense, is open 24/7 because we have a web page, and if they have a library card that's in good standing, they can utilize the services. So that's my first way that I introduce people to our resources. The second way that I do that is through community outreach, and I go to organizations like the Chamber of Commerce. I go to organizations like the Economic Development Center of St. Charles County and talk to some of the businesses within that organization. I also work with the University of Missouri Extension Service that has counselors in our county, and they will refer people to me that need information. So that's another way that I connect with people and educate them. I also do a fair amount of programming. on how to start a business or how to use a particular database. And we do those throughout the year.
And are those open to anyone, those programs?
Yeah, those are open to anybody. Okay. So that's how it's through community connections and through our staff. We also, and through our webpage, which is www.youranswerplace.org, and that's another marketing tool that we use to let people know about what we do.
Okay. Excellent. Yes, the library's websites are an excellent place to go for more information about resources available, hours, all of those things.
Yeah.
Of course, at a university library, we also have a website that
Yeah.
gives a lot of information and also is kind of the place to start and even gain access to all of our online resources.
Right.
Because there's a lot more than there's not a lot more than just the physical building.
And,
you have a lot of resources.
And there's
online.
people with different schedules. They're going, they're working all day, and they need to do their work at like 10 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning, so they can get on the computer with their coffee and their socks and just use the products 24/7. There's a big convenience factor with that as well.
Awesome. Okay, and you of course set up appointments with the different people if they call in or want more information. So you're probably not going to be open at 2 a.m. to meet with someone, but if they can schedule an appointment.
Yeah, I'm pretty flexible. Not 2 a.m. flexible, but fairly flexible through the normal quote normal working day, 9 to 5, or and I have some evening hours on Thursday where I can make appointments for people.
All right, and you specifically do business resources.
And what I traditionally do when people when they come in and they want to start a business, before they come in, I'll do a reference interview with them and ask them what kind of business they're going into, and I'll do some research for them. And when they come in, I will show them the resources that we have on industry, on company directories, so they can do competitive research. And I also run through a basic program of writing a business plan, the realities of business financing. And if they have questions that are beyond my scope of expertise, I refer them to people outside in the community for help.
Okay. Excellent. That's really good to know. And I think that's really important because librarians might not always know all the answers, but we usually know how to find someone else who will be able to help you get those answers.
Right.
So referral is a really important service and really can help you learn more about whatever topic it is that you're interested in knowing more about. So,
yeah.
Oh yeah, very, very fun and fabulous. So you talked a little bit about community outreach and things. So over time, how has your community engagement and outreach changed over time?
Okay, it's a great question, Nancy, and I'm glad you asked that. Community engagement in a public library setting, when you look at libraries from the mid-1930s up until the early 1970s in public libraries, it was very much kind of a protectionist mode in terms of protecting the collection. We didn't want, the librarians, they wanted a quiet atmosphere where people could come in and read. They didn't want people bringing in gum and putting it in books and being real loud, and the Seinfeld episode with the library police getting things, back, which is still important. But it was a kind of a strict environment. They wanted people in there. They wanted them reading. They wanted them taking out books and bringing them back on time. Sure. And they didn't necessarily, before, they didn't want people spending lots and lots of time in there. It was more of an experience of going in, getting your stuff, maybe spending a little time reading the newspaper, and then going about your day. Now, we have the way it has changed is we're open longer hours. Like at our place, Monday through Thursday, 9 to 9, Friday, Saturday, 9 to 6, Sunday, 1 to 5. So we're open a lot, and we want people to stay there. So we have comfortable seating. We have coffee dispensers where you put a dollar in, you get a nice cup of coffee. You get, you can bring your water bottle in. There's areas where we even let people eat, which is so
Right.
and so we want people to be spending time in our places, and we also have developed the specialized services like what I do with business services. Want people coming in, using the resources, getting my help. Our nonprofit information resource manager, he does the same thing with the nonprofit folks. Our history and genealogy person, he helps the people that are doing family trees, kind of getting started on that process. And our information resource manager for health services and government documents helps people with those types of questions. So we want people in there, and we want them spending time. We have a lot of children's programs, fun places to sit. Whereas before it wasn't like that. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if the same thing is going on in the academic world.
And it definitely is. I mean, the libraries are very much transitioning from this place of, all right, you can't talk in the building. No, in my mind, academic libraries are much more like the hub of campus. You go to hang out or take a nap. That happens a lot. And so it's not just about the physical book, but also about gathering together with your group to maybe work on a group project.
Yeah.
Or finding out what resources are available. That happens. But it also is more than just the place you go to for research. And that's what we want to do.
Yeah, because you have study rooms at your place where people can go in and study for a period of time. And you also have, and I was a Lindenwood student at one time, so I've eaten lunch inside your library, which, years ago, that would have never happened.
Exactly, forbidden.
And at our regional locations, we have meeting room spaces that are used all the time. People are coming in, they're meeting, and that was when at the Spencer Road Branch Library, we underwent a total rebuild where we went from a facility that was quite a bit smaller to 55,000 square feet of everything you want in a library and more. Mm-hmm. Because our needs assessment, the community told us we want places to meet, and we gave them meeting rooms. We have meeting rooms where they can come in and they can meet and talk and do what they have to do. So yeah, it's much more of an engaging, bright, fun place to be.
Exactly. And I think that's where we are also transitioning. We don't want it to be just this academic center. We want it to be the campus center,
right.
The place you go for a variety of resources,
right.
Or maybe just to sit and relax with a cup of coffee. I mean, we have a coffee shop in the library,
yeah.
So I totally understand where you're coming from on that perspective. What we've also found is that with more resources being online, we find that students expect they don't want the books anymore. They want the digitized materials. They want to see those resources available online all the time. And so I was a little curious, with digitization, how has that changed your job?
Well, it's changed my job in that. Especially in business services, when people are starting a business, we tend to gear them towards planning this out. So you have your secondary information, which is what I have, my demographic databases, my company directory databases, my industry databases. That's the secondary information. I tell people, yeah, I mean, our stuff that we subscribe to is good, but it's part of the picture. You also need to leave and go to the community where you're starting your business and and experience it. So that's the one thing that has changed about my job is the resources are there, they're accessible, and you can access them via the webpage 24/7. But there's also a distinction between what the secondary resources, where they will bring you, and then you have to go out and do some of your primary research on your own, talking to people and going into the community where you're going to put your business.
And how do you tell them the difference between some of those online, with digitization, how do you tell them to distinguish between a good business resource and a bad business resource? I know there's primary resources and that sort of thing, but how are you getting to the nitty-gritty of are you telling don't use a specific place over another?
Not really. What I tell them is to be an educated information evaluator. That means when you look at a source, are they providing where they're getting their information from? Okay. Where is this? Where are they getting this? Is it something that they're doing, or did they get it from someone else? And if the resource takes the time to explain that, then they're usually in a good place. Other resources, I tell them they have to use a critical eye. In regards to business plans, because we have a business plans database where some of the plans are very, very good. They're excellent. Others really aren't hitting the mark in terms of the content that they need to explain an idea and have someone fund it. So that I tell them, have a critical eye, question where they're getting their information.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Trevor. That was excellent. And thank you for watching this session of Literacy Now. We hope you will join us for our next session. I'm Nancy Messina, and it's been lovely. I hope you have a good one.